Oh, friends, it's your buddy Lou Pickney with you here. NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition is on the air. The clock is ticking down. Check-in time is almost over for today's $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament for Warsaken Blitz. The time to check in has expired, and in just a moment, as in like right now, we're going to look at the tournament bracket. So for most competitors, it's a first round bye. That includes me. There will be 4 people competing in a pair of opening round matches, but everybody else gets a bye, as you can see, for today's tournament. I will be taking on Kink Bowers, who I've seen listed before in prior tournaments, but I don't believe I've ever faced off against. So it's going to be 2 out of 3 as far as the matches go. Here with NashvilleLou Live, Warsaken Blitz. This is a single elimination tournament that's best 2 out of 3 matches until you reach the finals, in which case it's best 3 out of 5. And so there's a 5-minute window for everybody to take a look at the tournament tree, make sure everything's up and going as far as the matchups go. So the 2 sets of first round matches, and this is interesting. Ronald Koeman against Chalabunga, and then Quadrell against Tech. 4 good players who just had some tough luck on the draw. Danny Zera getting Zeal in some second round matches on that opposite side for me. Whereas I've got Kink Bowers, and I get the, if I advance, I would get the winner of War Never and Cammy Reaper. Cammy Reaper just followed me on stream here not too long ago, so perhaps we'll match up, but to do that, we would both have to win our respective opening round matches. The second round of the tournament, here for this Warsaken Blitz tournament. So about 2 to 3 minutes out from the start of the window, as it were, the time window for getting matched up here on BluMint. So about 2 minutes out from top of the hour, at that point, the chat room will open on the BluMint Discord page. And at that point, be able to communicate with my opponent here for this upcoming second round matchup. I've just posted a link in chat to BluMint. That's BLUMINT.com, BluMint. Oh, wait, maybe I'm misreading this. Oh, there's an entire second wave. Oh, wait, there's more. Oh, okay, I completely sold the field short as far as those matchups went. There's an entire second half of the board. I thought there were some names that were conspicuous by their absence. So a lot of people lined up here for this tournament today. Seeing some various names that I recognize, from Zeldris against Rexy. That'll be interesting on that bottom half of the bracket there. Anyway. That's the blue qualifier, excuse me. The red qualifier is the one that I'm in. I'm playing as NashvilleLou here in this tournament for Warsaken Blitz. It's a very fun card strategy game that is tremendous fun to live stream. A wonderful community with Warsaken. A lot of positives from me as far as my experience here with these BluMint tournaments. So we're like 15 seconds from top of the hour. We'll hit 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 1700 UTC, and high noon here in Nashville. So now at this point, I'm looking on the BluMint Discord page. In just a moment. I guess it has to go through everybody, so it may take a moment to go ahead and populate the various short-term chat rooms that are set up within the BluMint Discord room. So again, real quick, I'll go ahead and scroll down and show you the bottom half as well of that bracket. So if this holds true to how prior tournaments have been, the finals of the respected qualifiers would be 3 out of 5. But don't quote me on that. That's how it's been before. But we're still ways away from that. As you can tell, here I am, top right, as far as this red qualifier. Well, let me try and adjust it here on screen so you can see everything. So I'm looking here on the BluMint Discord page, making sure I'm not overlooking anything. But once we get it started here, it goes pretty quickly as far as these matches go with Warsaken Blitz. This tournament here on BluMint. Appreciate both the Warsaken Super Oracles for sponsoring today's event. Also, many thanks to BluMint for hosting it. I love these tournaments. They're so much fun. It's great content for a live stream. And here we are, I got the room set up here. We say hello. Good morning, / I guess now it's good afternoon, Nashville time for Guerrero from BluMint. So hello to Guerrero. I see King Bao is in there, but okay. Okay, one sec. I'll send a code. Okay, King Bao is actually Rusky Music. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. It gets difficult sometimes. So Rusky Music is a good competitor. I just didn't know the alternate name here, the competing as. I'll put a little note here so I'll remember this later that, I'll remember it since we're about to play here. King Bao equals, oops, I type it correctly. Equals Rusky Music. Okay, so you've got a code that you send over. Let me make sure I got the right screen pulled up for I. Okay, I just didn't want to have the code pop up on stream and potentially cause me problems. All right, so I'm about to send a code over to King. Excuse me. Close the screen. I was about to try and type the code. Again, these codes continue to be a major inconvenience for me, but it's not that difficult in some ways. I'm just paranoid I'll type a 0 instead of an O, or it won't work right, or my dyslexia will kick in. Mild dyslexia, of course. But, reasonable concerns, I think, as far as that goes. So I posted the link here in chat to BluMint, which has the full field there. One more look.
Warsaken.
All right, here we go. So with Warsaken Blitz, you have 1 leader card, 4 territory cards, and then an arsenal, which is your deck of 60. From that, you get 8 cards. You can either keep it or take a mulligan, and it reshuffles and gives you 8 more. I've got a pair of forces, I'll keep it. You have to be careful trying to chase that better hand. If you've got a decent opening hand, at least in my experience, it's usually better to stick with it. So it randomly chooses who goes first. And it'll be my opponent going first here in this opening match. Thank you, good luck. So it's a pair of weather cards here for my opponent. So it's Rusky Music competing as Kink Bawas. 2 weathers played, 2 actions to go for the turn. Those final 2 actions will not be used by my opponent. My turn. 2. So when you roll a die here in Warsaken Blitz, you get that many cards from your arsenal to your hand. You also get that many actions for your turn. So, hey, 2 weather cards over there with a little bit of cold weather. How about a lasting blizzard times 2? And that's it for my turn. Freezing rainstorm, lasting blizzard. In the context of this game with Blitz, it's a simplified version. I have the categories listed there in that left middle part of the screen because that's very important for Blitz. It's the categories that matter as far as what the cards do. Because Blitz is simplified to make it easier for new people coming in to play Blitz, to play Warsaken, to learn how the game works. It works out well. You see those insignias, the little emblems there on the bottom left of the cards. That will match up with the categories. You have to play 3 of a kind in your war zone to put those cards into action. So 2 sets of 2 with the weather. The weathers will buy you extra turns, extra time, etc. And then a standalone force. My turn. This is match number 1, best 2 out of 3. In a second round matchup here in today's Warsaken Blitz tournament being hosted by BluMint. I rolled a 3. So I've got 2 weathers. I need 3 of a kind, though. I can't just play a 3rd weather to have a matchup. So we'll go with a very nice card here, this Bella Ivanova. Fire Forged, times 2. So 2 sets of 2 in my war zone. You get 4 slots in your war zone, so you want to try and keep that in mind. I'll play one of my Jack's Nash cards here, and that'll end my turn. Roll a 4. Rebekind Force, I'll take out one of my territories. So I'm down to 3 territories. In Warsaken Blitz, once you have all of your territories eliminated, at that point you have a compromised leader. Once you have a compromised leader, all that has to happen is 3 of a kind force being played by your opponent. Your leader gets taken out and you lose. You're trying to do the opposite to your opponent. 5. Alright, so 3 of a kind force with the Jack's Nash cards. That'll take out an opponent's territory.
Select target.
Go to the Golden Farmlands. Thanks as always to Carl Casey at Whitebad Audio, making so much great music that's available royalty free. Okay, so I have 3 actions to go for the turn. Nothing that makes 3 of a kind. I've got some intel cards, got a couple building cards. I will go with the intel here. 2 sets of 2 with Control the Message. Harkening back to my television news days. Okay, so just like my opponent, 3 sets of 2 in my war zone, 1 action to go for the turn. I do not want to fill up that 4th spot in my war zone if I can help it. Usually I need a good reason to do that because otherwise you can get kind of hemmed up. Start having to pull cards off the board so you can play others, and that's a quick way to run out of actions in a turn. Roll 2 for my opponent. 3 of a kind weather would give an extra turn. No action there for my opponent. Similar philosophy seems in this match here for Rusky Music. Or I was trying to keep that 4th spot open in the war zone. All right, well, I can play that 3rd, Control the Message I have here. Now you'll notice this looks different than what I have out there. I've got a pair of camo versions, and then I've got the night vision. But it's the category that matters of the card for this. So 3 of a kind, I'm going to bounce 3. It sends 3 cards from my opponent's war zone into the discard pile.
Select
I
target.
love playing this when I've got an opponent that's got 3 wide, 2 deep as far as cards in that war zone. Let's bounce.
Select target.
Haircut time, 1 off the top
Select target.
for all of them. So a weather, and a 4. Stage go from 2 of a kind to 1 of a kind for my opponent. 2 actions to go for the turn. I'm going to hold off on my WMD, putting that out there in partial form, or just begging to have an intel play to send it to the discard pile. So I've got 2 spots in my war zone, 2 actions to go for the turn, play 2 of a kind soldier barracks, and that'll end my turn. A roll of 1 for my opponent. Taking on Pink Bawas, also known as Rusky Music, for those of you that watch some of my live streams, both live and video on demand here on Twitch, also over my YouTube channel at NashvilleLou Live over on YouTube. NashvilleLou Live. Roll 4. All right, 3 of a kind WMD plus a 3rd weather card that I can play. Typically, I try to play the weathers first. Better safe than sorry. Extra turn. We'll get to that in a moment. We still have 3 actions to go for this turn. 3 of a kind WMD. A WMD takes out 2 of your opponent's territories. You can only play 1 per match in Warsaken Blitz.
Select target.
Extra turn. My opponent's down to 1 territory. 5. Okay, I can play 3 of a kind weather, and that'll give me another extra turn. Blinding Sandstorm. We'll get to the extra turn, the second extra turn in a moment. 2 actions to go for this turn. I can go for the Hammerheads. I can go for the A4 Revenge Super Carrier. I'll go for the latter. What a card. Revenge Super Carrier. Second extra turn. 2. Okay, well, nothing to make 3 of a kind. I'm going to keep that 4th spot in my war zone open. I'll forego those 2 actions and end my turn. So I'm taking on my opponent here in the first match of our, well, for both of us, is our initial match in today's Warsaken Blitz BluMint $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament. Roll 3 for my opponent. It's Rusky Music playing as Kink Bawas. A pullback. Remember, I used those 3 of a kind, the intel to take out 1 each of the 3 pairs that had been out there for my opponent. It's 2 of a kind now for Force, 1 Weather. A pair of building cards. Building cards let you go back to your discard pile and bring back 3 cards to your hand, even if they were never in your hand. I say bring back. It's even if you didn't have it in your hand to begin with, you can still bring it in if your opponent milled your arsenal, which is an option you have when you play an intel card. So just the 1 action here. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to keep that 4th spot in my war zone open. I'll end my turn. So this is best 2 out of 3 matches. Match number 1. So roll a 4 for my opponent. Taking on Kink Bawaz. That's Kinqbowaz. Who you might also know as Rusky Music. If you've watched any of my NashvilleLou Live Warsaken Blitz player versus player streams. This Thursday, 4 p.m., I'm back with that. Back with a Q, player versus player. Should be a lot of fun. That's this Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2000 UTC. So a roll of 1 here for my opponent. My opponent is Kink Bawaz, a.k.a. Rusky Music. It's my turn. 5. Okay, I'm going to win this match right here. 5 actions to go. I've got 2 A4 Revenge Super Carriers out there already. This makes a 3rd.
Select target.
My opponent's down to 1 territory. So with all those territories taken out, my opponent's got a compromised leader. All I need now is 3 of a kind force to win the match, and lucky me, I've got a trio of A9 hammerheads for the win.
Select target. Leader eliminated. Victory.
Okay, telling Hinkabawa's good game. And so, real quick here. Pull up the tournament tree. You can see there, I had that first round bye. I lead 1-0 here in this best 2 out of 3 second round matchup. I'll scroll down real fast, give you a look at the blue qualifier, the other side. But okay, one sec. Rusky Music asking me for a code again, which, let me make sure I've got the right screen pulled up here. Okay. I just don't want to do that on stream with it visible, just in the odd chance that something might go amiss with that being out there. Better safe than sorry. Okay. So I've sent the code over to Rusky Music. Showed you the blue qualifier, now the red qualifier. Section where I am.
Warsaken.
Here we go. It's match number 2. Against Kinkbawas. Blue leads 1-0. Best of 3. Okay, 2 sets of 2 with the weather cards. It's weird to only have 1 force card, but I'm going to keep it. So a roll of 3 for my opponent. I lead Kinkbawas 1-0 here in this round 2 matchup here in this BluMint tournament for Warsaken Blitz. Pair of weather cards for my opponent, similar to how their first match started. My turn. 1. Okay. Of the 2 sets of 2, it doesn't matter which one. This is a cool looking card though. Fire in the fields with fire. You better believe it. But just the one of them, since I only had the 1 action, and that's it for my turn. Posted the link again there in chat for BluMint and the Warsaken Blitz page. This is the first of 2 tournaments going on this week for BluMint with Warsaken Blitz. This is Cannon Fodder I. And later on, or toward the weekend, there'll be the Cannon Fodder II tournament. So 2 intel cards to go with the 2 weather cards out there for my opponent. The final 2 actions go unused. And that's it for the turn. My turn, 5. Okay, great. Well, about to have ourselves a couple extra turns. First things first, play those 2 fire in the fields cards to match the one already out there. And there are very limited situations where you might want that plus 3 actions, but I want the extra turn here. 3 actions to go for this turn. Lining up a second extra turn. 3 of a kind ideal conditions. Extra turn number 2. Okay, so we're going to roll for the first extra turn. 3. Okay, nothing to make 3 of a kind. I'll play a pair of DX8s. Force cards. 3 spots open in my war zone. 1 action to go for the turn. I could play a building card. Although, actually, I'm not going to here. Actually, no, I will. I'll go ahead and play one. All right. Extra turn number 2. 3. All right. Well. Play a pair of force cards, the A7 axe. Got water and fire. 1 action to go for the turn. I'll play that second building card. That's it for my turn. So I lead Rusky Music 1-0 here in this best of 3 round 2 matchup. And today's Warsaken Blitz tournament over on BluMint, BluMint. It's the $50 prize. Well, it's free entry. Many thanks for that as well. My favorite prize for entry, which is free. My turn. 4. All right, I'm going to play 3 of a kind here with the A7X.
Select target.
3 of a kind force will let me take out one of my opponent's territories. We'll go with the Golden Farmlands. I've got 2 spots in my war zone open. Nothing to make 3 of a kind. I'm not going to put the WMDs out there. So I'm going to forego those last 3 actions and end my turn. Warsaken Blitz is so much fun to play. And while I've got some fancier, higher-end cards, you'll notice here with Blitz, none of that matters as far as my ability to beat my opponent or vice versa. 3 of a kind with the intel, you got to figure it's going to be my arsenal being targeted, milling my arsenal, sending 6 cards from my deck of 60 to my discard pile. So I've got Agent Zera, I've got a planted device. Freezing Rainstorm ended up there. Got a guard tower. So it helps to know. You can look in there. You can look at your opponent's discard pile as well, providing a bit of information there. So 4 actions to go here for my opponent for this turn. I'll lead 1-0 here in this best of 3 round 2 matchup in today's Warsaken Blitz tournament hosted by BluMint. I'm playing here in this second matchup. If I win, I advance. If I lose, we play a third deciding match right after this. 2 of a kind intel. 2 actions to go for this turn for my opponent. That's it for the turn. My turn. 6. All right, I'm going to play 3 of a kind force with a trio of Agent Zeras.
Select target.
My opponent's down to 2 territories. It should be noted my deck, my arsenal's at 24. If your arsenal hits 0 cards, at that point you get a compromised leader. Also, if your morale hits 0, you can have a compromised leader, although morale seldom comes into play. Although if you watched my broadcast of the last BluMint tournament for Warsaken Blitz, it sometimes, though, does in fact come into play, as it did against me in the match that ultimately ended up losing and dropping in that tournament. So, okay. I'll play a pair of no, we'll go with the intel. Pair of burn notices. Fire-forged burn notices. Sending a message with that. Fire. 1 action to go for the turn, which I will not use. I'll keep that last spot in my war zone open, and I'll end my turn. I'm taking on Kink Bawas, also known as Rusky Music. My opponent rolls a 3. This is match number 2, round number 2. I'll lead this best of 3 series 1-0. But Rusky Music is a good player, so it won't be easy. But at the moment, I do have the advantage. Although a 3 of a kind intel could go after my arsenal. No play there. Interesting. So nothing laid down. Those 3 actions passed up. But with that roll of 1, nothing to make 3 of a kind. I'm going to keep that spot in my war zone, that last spot. You get those 4 slots. I'll keep the 4th one open and end the turn. My opponent rolls a 5. So we'll see what strategy is employed here. If they go, the attack continues to be aimed at my arsenal, my deck of 60. That's down to 23. If it hits 0, again, as noted, that would have me with a compromised leader. I've lost matches before where I had all my territories intact, but my leader was compromised. 3 of a kind intel. So you're going to go for the 1 off the top each here, or you're going to go after they're going to go after the arsenal. Interesting. I'm down to 17 cards. So I could potentially lose this and have all of my territory intact. So that intel getting lined up, potentially going after Let me think for a second here. Okay. Well, I could play three of a kind building. Just with the one interrogation facility. I could go back for weather and do three of a kind weather. So I'm returning 3 cards. Now, I could try. Now, I mean, there is the consideration of taking cards from my discard pile and putting them in my arsenal. But I'm not going to do that here. Instead, I'm going to return 3 to my hand. Or did I mess that up? Maybe I should have looked closer at my other options. It's too late now, then. I'll just go ahead and take the ideal conditions. I'm with that extra turn. Oh, I think I didn't play that one properly. I probably should. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I could have gotten a third. I'm very much misplayed that one. Now that I'll look at it closer. But maybe everything's not lost. Extra turn. Down to 12 cards in my arsenal. 1 action to go for this turn. Intel. Extra turn. 3. Okay, well, I'll play the WMD this way. Didn't make it easy on myself, but here we go. So 3 of a kind WMD. Take out 2 of my opponent's territories, and there are only 2 left.
Compromised.
So my opponent is a compromised leader. It's a roll of 1. And maybe the smarter play would have been going Intel and going 1 off the top each there. Although unless there's a third weather to be played, I just need to roll a 3 or higher to win the match. So 3 of a kind Intel, I'll be down to 3 cards in my arsenal, my deck, unless it's an attack here against what I have out there on the board, which could happen. But I anticipate my arsenal getting attacked. Oh, instead it's 1 off the top each. I just need a 3 or higher and I'll win the match. It's a 1, so not yet. Okay, I'll play a planted device. That's it for my turn. My opponent rolls a 5. I'll lead 1-0 here in this best of 3 round 2 matchup against Kink Bawas, also known as Rusky Music. 3 of a kind building cards. One back for Intel. Two actions to go for the turn. Two of a kind Intel. If it's a 3 or higher that I roll here, I win the match. It's a 5. All right. 3 of a kind with a Z27 Tigers.
Select target.
All right, I'm going to advance in the tournament. All right, so good game to Rusky Music, also known as Kink Bawas. So for just a moment, I'll bring up the slate. This is NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. I'm your host, Lou Pickney, playing as NashvilleLou in today's BluMint $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament. Free entry, $50 prize pool. Let's take a look at the very latest here. Keep in mind there's a red and a blue bracket. So I've advanced past Kink Bowers. I'll face the winner of War Never versus Cammy Reaper. On the other side of the top part of the red qualifier bracket here that I'm in, see that's Dandy Zera against Zeal as a second round matchup. But we knew that before, as they both had a first round bye. Ronald Coleman against Shawabunga, and Quadrell against Tech. Go ahead and scroll down and take a look at the blue qualifier. So let's see, I've advanced to round 3. But they're on the red qualifier side. So I showed some of the blue, showed the red as well. I posted the link in chat a couple times. I can go ahead and do that again. For the Warsaken Blitz tournament. The specifics over on BluMint's website. Alright, so 2 new mentions. Does that mean... Let me guess, I leveled up. Yes, I leveled up twice. I have no idea what that actually means. I'm level 10. Alright. So, victorious there over Kink Bowers, and now on, in just a couple of minutes, you would imagine, here to the 3rd round. And that was 2 straight matches for me, so there might be a slight delay depending on who advances between War Never and Cammy Reaper. I'm going to go grab another bottle of water. I'll take just a quick break. I'll keep the tournament tree up here, and you can see the very latest as far as it getting updated. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, or even if sooner than that. How long does it take me to fetch a bottle of water? I will check a couple of things on my other computer and be right back with more of this tournament coverage here. Warsaken Blitz and the BluMint $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament. Back in just a moment. Okay, I am on to the next round, and I believe we'll have our my second series of matches. It'll be round 3. I'll come up here in just a moment. So an updated look at the tournament tree, so you can see. So I haven't received any indication yet in the BluMint Discord about this matchup here for round 3, but this matchup just popped up here a short time ago. Calling Guerrero from BluMint, thank you, as far as getting the heads up to keep an eye on my bracket. Go ahead and scroll down to show you the other half of the tournament tree. So McCurr Z beat Z, which is interesting. Winner of that gets the winner of Zeldrazar and Rexinator. A lot of friends of mine in this tournament. A lot of them over on that blue qualifier, but plenty as well on this red qualifier side. I was lucky enough to get past Rusky Music, who's competing in this tournament. Moonbaz Marty, hello. And Rusky Music is Kink Bowers. Let me say hello. Appreciate everybody taking the time to stop in here on my Twitch stream, or those of you watching via BluMint's website. So I'm going to have to keep peeking in here on the BluMint page to make sure the room hasn't been created yet, but it takes just a moment. There's a lot as far as the tournament goes and getting everything set up, especially one like this where you've got 2 sets of qualifier brackets. That's the bottom half of the tournament tree. I'll go ahead and post that link in chat again for BluMint for the Warsaken page. So my next BluMint tournament will be in 2 days. For blockchain brawlers, it'll be early for me with an 8 a.m. Eastern start time. So 7 local for me as far as the start time. Tougher though for folks on the west coast of the United States, 5 a.m. But that's the time slot. More convenient for a lot of the rest of the world, which normally has to deal with the difficulties with time slots that are more convenient typically for American audiences, North American, South American. Okay, so let's see now. I can check in to see if the room. Now that's actually not going to be my next upcoming broadcast. That's my next live stream as far as a tournament goes. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, 0200 UTC. So right after AEW Dynamite tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, I'll be live here on Twitch with AEW Fight Forever, the new video game that I enjoy a great deal. It's a lot of fun to stream. So let me check back in here and see, not yet as far as the room setup. But they'll get that going here shortly. So as you can see, I've advanced to round 3 after getting a first round bye. So you can see the top part of that red qualifier start to fill in. So it's Danny Zera who will face the Chowabunga gets past Ronald Koeman. So Chowabunga advances to round 2. We'll face the winner of Quadrell and Tech. A lot of talent there. Just that opening round 1 matchup there. But that's the other side of the top part of the red bracket. As far as the bottom half, Hun Alex 76 against Soul the Cat. David ERS against Andrew H789. That's on one quadrant of it. And then bottom right, hey, there you are, Moonbaz Marty. Moonbaz Marty had a first round bye just like I did and faced off with Natha CGA. I guess I can ask Moonbaz Marty how you did. Is it still going on? Did you win? Did Natha win? Natha's a good player, so. But I know you are as well, Moonbaz Marty. Winner of that, getting the winner of Shiloh and NF Team. There you can see the bottom half of the blue side of the bracket and checking not yet as far as the next room matchup here for round 3, but that's okay. Chance to look the tournament over a bit. When you've got a large field, I love that you have that 5-minute window from the end of check-in to the start where you can kind of survey the situation a little bit, but when you have a large field, sometimes there's quite a bit to take in. So let's see. We'll, for a moment, bring the slate back up. Refresh that tournament tree, make sure what you're seeing is the very latest as far as that goes. These tournaments are great fun. They're free to enter, which quite nice. And nice prizes as well if you're able to perform well in the tournament. But to do that, you got to face some tough competition. So again, here's that bottom half of the bracket. So it's Makur Z awaiting the winner of Zeldrazar and Rexinator. Got Rico Star against Arshia. Pennybags Jr., who I played in the last tournament, against Devil NV, who I've played twice prior in BluMint tournaments for Warsaken Blitz. Where's the top part there? Rabbit Larry's in there against Ivanov 007. Flaxy against Floor Slayer. Of course, I'm in the top part up here, and I posted the link in chat a few times, and I'll add it again as the broadcast continues. As far as... Oh, you won 2-0? Okay, thank you for letting me know. Congrats. Congrats. Thank you for letting me know. The Moonbaz Marty's on to the third round. So as soon as we get the go-ahead, we'll get things going with this third-round matchup. There's not necessarily a huge rush, though, considering that here in this red qualifier, let me double-check, and yeah. So because of that top left quadrant here in the red qualifier having to play those first-round matches, and that's luck of the draw. It's a blind draw. Like the last Blockchain Brawlers tournament that I was in that I won, where I had to play a first-round match, and the majority of the field didn't. It was just luck of the draw, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go all the way to the championship and win that one. Just like that was not easy, winning this tournament won't be easy. Still a long way to go as far as that is concerned. So it's, I presume its war never changes, but it cuts off as far as the name goes. Like my name, 12 letters, perfect as far as fitting there within the little box here. It helps that you have an I and then a pair of L's. They're lowercase, as far as fitting a lot of letters in a small amount of space. All right, here we go. All right, thank you. I'm ready whenever you are if you have a code. I can always provide the code. Gone through this before, but so we're going to get this going here in just a moment. Ooh. Scroll up like that. But thank you here in chat. Like trying to translate. It's like when somebody goes to NXT in the world of wrestling, they get a new name. It's like having an old name, a new name. So Murdak is the name here in BluMint, and it's war never, I presume it's war never changes. Just writing this down for my own notes, just so I can keep track of it for later. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in the code I was given.
Warsaken.
And here we go. So this is round 3 of the tournament. So I had a first round bye, won my second round matchup in 2 straight, and here I am beginning round 3, match number 1. 2 sets of 2. That's actually great. Keep it. Or at least very good. I mean, I don't know how. I'm still getting a gauge for what is, good versus bad as far as the card distribution. Obviously, some are going to be better than others. Roll a 6 to start things off for my opponent. So 2-of-a-kind building cards, and I've learned you can play building cards. I've said the opposite before. Even if you have nothing in your discard pile, you can go ahead and play at least 2. But if you play 3, those cards do nothing except for just go to your discard pile. But you can play at least 2 of them and get them out of your hand. So that is strategically a little bit different as far as than how I initially anticipated it. The G-Force card's cool looking and all, but for the purposes of Warsaken Blitz, it functions just like any other Force card. So that's it for my turn after that roll of 1. Roll of 1 for my opponent. Look at that search algorithm. See that number 4? That means there's only 4 of those in existence. My opponent's got 1 of them. Nice card. But that's it for my opponent's turn. My turn. 2. With my opponent having 2-of-a-kind intel out there, it's dangerous to put my own intel parts and pieces out there, as it were. Play the second Roman's prototype, and while I've got 3 spots open in my war zone, nothing else makes 2-of-a-kind. This also limits what my opponent can do. If it's 3-of-a-kind intel here, I've got 2 cards, and you could choose to only take out 2. I could be forced to discard 3. There's a lot that could happen, but I'm in my turn. Roll a 6 for my opponent. So a strong start for my opponent. 3-of-a-kind intel. And you see what I was talking about as far as the war zone went, although the attack there goes after my arsenal, my deck. 3-of-a-kind force. That'll take out a territory. 2 actions still to go here for my opponent. At least I can take a peek at what was sent to the trash heap here. That's it for my opponent's turn. My turn, it's a 6. Remember, I've got 2-of-a-kind Roman's prototype out there. So I'll go ahead and just play the 3rd to start things off with that. 3-of-a-kind force will take out an opponent's territory. That -6 morale. I would love to play a morale deck, but that really doesn't serve you well in Blitz unless you know your opponent's got some cards like this. In this case, though, it really doesn't matter because I don't have a morale-based deck in play here. 5 actions to go for the turn. Now let's go triple morale. Excuse me. Talking about morale. Triple intel. More important here, the instigated riots. That's a cool-looking card right there. Look at Molotov cocktail. Yeah, that's a hostile scene. Bounce 3.
Select target.
I'm going to actually bounce 2 building cards here. A little different, but...
Select target.
And then 1 of the weathers. More difficult for an opponent to go back to their discard pile if their building cards get taken out. I'll play a pair of weathers here, the Violent Tornado. That's it for my turn. So this is match number 1 here in round 3 of today's BluMint $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament. This is Warsaken Blitz, a really fun new card game that is entertaining to play and live stream. And I appreciate everybody's taking the time to watch either my stream here live on Twitch or simulcast over on BluMint or catching it later video on demand. So I rolled a 1. Actually, we'll go ahead and play a building card here. That's it for my turn. Roll a 2 for my opponent. Two-of-a-kind force. 1 more, make a trio. It would take out a second territory. Said it's 2 sets of 2 with the forest cards, and that's it for my opponent's turn. My turn, it's a 6. All right. Well, I'll play the second G-Titan missile silo building card. 5 actions to go for the turn. We'll go 3 of a kind force with the RKX Ghost Manta.
Select target.
So my opponent's down to 2 territories. I got 2 actions to go for the turn. And I'll play a pair of weather cards with ideal conditions. That's it for my turn. Roll a 6 for my opponent. Three of a kind WMD, that's going to take out 2 of my territories. I'll be down to 1. Three actions to go for the turn for my opponent. 2 sets of 2 with a force. If somehow there's 3 of a kind each up there, I'd be in trouble. Instead, it's a second weather card. Then a pair of building cards. 4 wide, 2 deep. My opponent's war zone. My turn. 1. But lucky me, it's a weather card. And not just a weather card, but one to make 3 of a kind with the ideal conditions. Extra turn. Let's roll. It's a 5. Okay, I can play a weather card and get an extra turn potentially. I could opt to just take the +3 turns, which would give me, let's see, that would be 4. I'd be down 2 actions wise. That would give me 7. I can go back for a building, use the building cards to go back. I only have 1 each as far as WMD cards, so waiting around too long on that's just not going to cut it. Unless I've got something down here I'm not thinking of, WMD wise, because there was the ZS Wolf down there. I've got 2 of the W1MGs. What do I have in my hand? W1MG and the Wolf. Okay. So if I play one more building, or one more, let's think. I would have 4 actions plus, let's see. Okay, let's get the extra turn. Let's do it that way. All right, 4 actions to go for the turn. I can use my building cards to go back and get, I'll go with a pair of W1MGs. I don't know if I really should go back for that Wolf. If that's the right play here, let's see. I've got some one-of-a-kind things. Back for 3 of a kind. Actually, I will go with the Wolf. 1 action to go for the turn. Tank. Extra turn. 2. Well. Play the other 2 W1MGs.
Select target.
This is me giving up in some ways on a WMD showing up in time to make 3 of a kind, but you can't wait around forever in Warsaken Blitz. Those WMDs might not ever show up. That's it for my turn. I only have 1 territory left. Although at this point, the same is true for my opponent. It's a 6. Uh-oh, this could be it. All my opponent needs is 3 of a kind force to take out my last territory. There's that part of it. Now it's just 3 of a kind force. I'll have a compromised leader if that happens. I'll lose the match and be down 1-0 here in round 3.
Compromised.
3 of a kind weather means an extra turn for my opponent. 2 actions to go for the turn. So it's 2 of a kind force. It's a roll of 6. That's 3 of a kind force. That's the match. So my opponent leads 1-0 here in this best of 3 third round matchup. Refresh the tournament tree real quick here, and we're going to get this second match going here in just a moment with my opponent. Well, we'll just real quick show the slate here. You see I'm there in the third round, here in the red qualifier, and then a quick look at the blue qualifier as well. Let's see, didn't you match 2 others? Say no, it seemed to perform properly. I'll have to check the broadcast later if I'm wrong. Thank you for the code. So I got the code here for my opponent. Seemed to think something didn't seem right to my opponent. It seemed like with the weathers. I'll check on that later. I'm not concerned about that right now. My opponent had played a great match. All right, so I've got the code, which I'll enter here in just a moment. And you see the blue part of the qualifier, the red part. There I am in the third round, but I trail 1-0 against my opponent. So I've got the code. Okay. I got everything I think was okay with that. My opponent had stepped away and wasn't quite sure what had happened. All right, so I've got the code. Let me see what we have pulled up here. You can see where I am, the red qualifier. Let's go with a fire deck here. Wienawati.
Warsaken.
My opponent leads 1-0 in this best of 3 matchup in round 3. The link to BluMint.com, BluMint.com. I had nothing here that matches. I'll use a mulligan. It's that reshuffles my deck of 60 cards, my arsenal, and then gives me 8 additional cards to consider. Nothing matches here. So I'm going to use a second mulligan. That gives my opponent an extra card, so there's a disadvantage to that, but I'm going to do it. I get to go first. Lucky me. 5. Well, all things considered, that worked out pretty well as far as the distribution goes with the 2 of a kinds. Play a pair of weather cards, 3 actions to go for the turn. Play a pair of force cards. It's a robot dog with lasers and fire. And then finally, 1 action to go for the turn. I'll play a freezing rainstorm, and that will end my turn. I believe my opponent's full name in the game is War Never Changes, but it cuts off, and it's a different name for my opponent in the BluMint Discord chat. 2 of a kind building cards, and now 2 of a kind WMD for my opponent. Opponent who leads 1-0 here in this best 2 out of 3 round 3 matchup in today's BluMint tournament for Warsaken Blitz. It's an intel card to end the turn for my opponent. My turn, it's a 1. Lucky me. A 3rd fire in the fields, and I'll get an extra turn. One. Okay. Well, I'll play the standalone freezing rainstorm. I say standalone. I'll play the second of 2 to match the standalone out there in the war zone. That's it for my turn. A roll of 2 for my opponent, who leads 1-0 here in this round 3 best 2 out of 3 matchup. Standalone force card, so my opponent's got all 4 spots in the war zone opposite me filled up. It's a 2. I've got 2 spots open in my war zone. We'll play a pair of Z27 Tigers, force cards, and that will end my turn. Roll a 6 for my opponent. Oh, interesting, a pullback there. Making some room in the war zone for 3 of a kind force, I would presume at least. That's 2 of a kind. Another pullback. 2 actions to go for the turn. Pair of weather cards. So that's it for my opponent's turn. It's my turn. 4. Alright. Play a... Well, always pull my hand down to show you what I've got. Just 1 slot open in my war zone, so works out well to have the freezing rainstorm. Extra turn, we'll get to that in a moment. 3 actions to go for this turn. See, I've got 2 sets of 2 with force cards out there. I'll go with a pair of weather cards, ideal conditions. 1 action to go for the turn. I don't want to fill up that 4th spot in my war zone. So I'm going to forego that last action, end the turn, and now extra turn. 4. Okay. Well, I can play 3 of a kind with the Z27 Tiger. So that's a trio of force cards that'll take out an opponent's territory.
Select the target.
NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. On the air here with the BluMint $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament. Warsaken Blitz. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. I trail 1-0 here in this 3rd round matchup. 3 actions to go for the turn. Play a pair of H5 dropships, force cards. And choose not to use that last action there. Keep that 4th spot in my war zone open and end my turn. So it's my opponent's turn. It's a 2. No play there for my opponent. My turn. 3. Okay, well, I can play a 3rd drop ship. That'll take out a 2nd of my opponent's territories.
Select target.
So my opponent's down to 2 territories. I got 2 actions to go for the turn. Play a pair of A7X force cards. That's it for my turn. Roll a 6. This could be trouble for me here. My opponent's got a war zone lined up. 3 of a kind WMD. I'll go from 4 territories to 2 very quickly. Five actions to go for the turn. 3 of a kind weather means an extra turn for my opponent after this. 4 actions still to go here. Three of a kind building cards. You're going back for weather. You can only play 1 WMD per match. So it had to be for weather. Which is actually a pretty good decision. There's the weather. Here's that extra turn number 1. Roll a 4. So 2 weathers that were just pulled back to go with a 3rd that was pulled back and played. So it's another extra turn for my opponent after this one. 2 actions to go for this turn. We each have 2 territories remaining. 2 of a kind intel with 1 action to go for the turn. Or here, okay, I guess that was it for the turn. Extra turn, roll of 1, but that's 3 of a kind intel. I'm guessing getting 1 each as far as my war zone goes. So as speculated, that's the way it plays out, and that's the end of the turn for my opponent. My turn. 2. Okay, I'll bring the ideal conditions back to my hand. 1 action to go for the turn. And play a planted device. That's an intel card. That's it for my turn. Roll 3 for my opponent. My opponent, War Never, leads me 1-0 here in this third round matchup. That's 3 of a kind force. I'll be down to 1 territory. That's it for my opponent's turn. My turn. 6. I can go 3 of a kind intel with the clever hijack. Let's bounce.
Select target.
Taking out
Select target.
both of the building cards there. Notice I hit the green outline button. It didn't have me confirm it. It took them both right then and there. So be careful when you're doing this, when you play. That little green button, I can't play it now since there's only one more I can bounce, but it didn't double check, it just did it. So be careful. 3 actions to go for the turn. I can play a second planted device. 2 actions to go for the turn. I'll play a second DX8 force. 1 action to go. I'll do a pullback here with this A7 axe. And that'll be it for my turn. My opponent has 2 territories. I have 1. My opponent leads 1-0 here in this best of 3 round 3 matchup in today's BluMint $50 Cannon Fodder I tournament for Warsaken Blitz. Three of a kind building cards. One back for force. 1 action to go for the turn. 2 of a kind force for my opponent. My turn. 5. DX8.
Select target.
3 of a kind force will allow me to take out a third of my opponent's territories. My opponent will be down to just 1 remaining. Four actions to go for the turn. Play a trio of Agent Zeras.
Select target.
Mount up Tanya.
Compromised.
So an opponent with a compromised leader. 1 action to go for the turn. Already have 2 of a kind intel out there. I'll play a building card, and that'll be it for my turn. Let's see what my opponent... If my opponent rolls a 5 or a 6, it may be done deal for me. It's a 5. It's just going to take 2 sets of 3 of a kind force for my opponent to beat me. And that might happen right here. That's 3 of a kind force. I'll have a compromised leader. My opponent wins. Be out of the tournament.
Compromised.
There's 2. There's 3. That's going to do it. I'm out.
Leader eliminated. Defeated.
All right, good game. So Murdoch, and it's 2-0. Good luck in the next round. All right. Just catching up here with my opponent. All buildings on hand at triple matches before he ran to 40 cards. That's quite something. Anyway, so my opponent victorious. I'll go ahead and pull up the... Well, in a moment, I'll pull up the tournament tree. I'm out of the tournament, but before I sign off with the broadcast, I will go ahead and show you the very latest as far as the tournament tree goes. Now, before I finish up here, I'll post that link again in chat as far as anybody wanting to check out the very latest with the tournament, and go over to BluMint's website. Okay. So it's not reflected there yet, but I'm out. Lost 2 straight to War Never here in round 3. So that brings my participation in today's tournament to an end. So you can see what's lining up as far as the red qualifier side goes. And real quick, I will go ahead and scroll down and show you the blue qualifier as well, where you're 7/8 of the way of having the quarterfinal round for the blue side at least set up. Happy to see the strong participation today here in this tournament. Reload this on the page that I can actually see in front of me and trying to squint at a screen that's tough to read. So again, War Never advances over me to the red qualifier finals, and then the blue qualifier, which what you see right now. So Vano awaits the winner of Antikilla and LXPO SAURO. Winner of that faces the winner of Ivanov 007 and Flaxy. Bottom half of the blue, it's Makur Z against, it is against Zeldrasar. Zeldrasar victorious over Rexy. On the other side down there, Devil and V, who I've faced twice in tournaments here, and we're 1-1 against each other. But Devil and V on to the blue bracket quarterfinals to take on Rico Star. So that's how it looks as far as the bottom half of the bracket. And up here in the red, you see where I made it to round 3, but that's where my run in today's tournament comes to an end. So good luck to my friends who are still in it. Many thanks to Warsaken and to Supra Oracles for sponsoring today's event. Greatly appreciated. Hey Tissues, hello. I mean, it's tough. Look, sometimes with Warsaken Blitz, RNG just will not be on your side. That's just how it's going to go. That first match I had there against War Never, it was like 6 is a plenty. But that's how it goes in this game. So as long as you know that going in, that RNG does play a role, a significant role, don't get too mad and don't get too excited. At least in my experience, something in between there is usually going to be better as far as your options go. So thank you, Tissues, for swinging in here, but this will be where I begin to wrap up with my broadcast. I'm going to do a quick check over on another screen here. So right now, Quadrell's Art's playing like 4 different competitors, and then let's see what I think Shawabunga has an active match going on right now. All right. I'm going to bring up the slate. I want to make sure I'm not overlooking anything before I wrap up here. I'm about to do a raid over to Shawabunga. We'll have more coverage here with Warsaken Blitz. Many thanks again to BluMint for hosting this tournament. So I'm going to say goodbye to the SIG out for the VOD and YouTube archive later, and then I'll do my raid. So that's going to do it for this broadcast of NashvilleLou Live Tournament Edition. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. Thanks for watching. See you next time.